Hello, my name is Lisa Sorrell and I'm a cowboy boot maker. I'm going to begin filming a weekly video here in my boot shop in Oklahoma. I'll share tips and techniques on working with leather, opinions on running a business, and sometimes just observations about life. Now, in honor of this first episode, I dressed up just a little. Normally my only criteria for what I wear in the shop is whether or not I care if I get glue on it. So join me every Monday for an update on life in a boot shop. This morning I'm going to be demonstrating a very simple little technique that I use all the time, and it took me a while to even figure out that I was doing it. So I'm working on a butterfly bracelet. Here's the design, and you can see it's got some curves in it. And sometimes when you're cutting a curve with a knife, sometimes if it's a very small curve, then you might have a problem going around that curve, and you might end up with corners or making the curve bigger than you want, and it gets kind of sloppy. And I can hear a few of you out there saying, well, why don't you just use scissors? The boot shop that I started in, a lot of those old boot makers had a problem with scissors, and we were hardly allowed to say the word, much less have a pair in the shop. But I do use scissors and I like them, and they're great for cutting outside curves. If you need to cut a circle, they work great. But if you need to get inside something and cut, they really don't work that well. And this is coming from someone who loves scissors and is, in my opinion, good with scissors, but they're just not good for cutting out inside things. They work much better if you're doing overlay or cutting out a shape that you're going to put somewhere, but they don't work real well for cutting a hole inside something. So we're not going to use scissors, we're going to use an X-Acto knife. I like an X-Acto knife because it's small and I can hold it like a pencil. So here's what I do when I need to cut a curve. See how I put my finger right up there? I'm guiding that X-Acto knife right along my finger so that I don't slip, and I can just accurately go around that curve. I'm not cutting into my finger, because then I might slip and cut myself. The flat of the blade is against the flat of my fingernail. And like I said, I didn't even realize I was doing this for a while, and one day I started thinking about the fact that every time I cut a curve, I realized my left finger was in there so I could brace the knife against it. And then I realized how well it works, and I wanted to share it. So just think about that. You can use your finger to guide yourself around curves, and it will give you more control. And again, you're not cutting into your finger. The flat of the blade is against the flat of your fingernail. So there we go. That's what I'm going to be doing every week. I'm going to share a small technique with you, and then I'm going to finish with me talking. It might be a joke or an observation or a rant. One of the bad things about working alone is I never have anyone to preach at. So this week I'm going to tell you my favorite bootmaker joke. There was an old bootmaker, and he had made boots for years and years, and one day he won the lottery, and a reporter came out, and the reporter asked, "What are you going to do with all that money?" And the old bootmaker said, "Well, I guess I'll just keep building boots till it's gone." Thank you. See you next week.